Welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He is. He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification. Also, check out our podcast link also in the description. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Jack_Glenn. Once again, that's Jack_Glenn on Twitter and on Instagram. And let's get started with Married at First Sight. Couples cam, which the couples are quarantined. 9 couples from Married at First Sight is quarantined. This is the second episode. And we start off with Anthony and Ashley. We find out there's a little bit of snow in Chicago.
Well, I mean, more than a little bit. Enough for him to try to make a snowman for Miss Mila.
Yeah, make a snowman for Miss Mila in April. So he had tried to do that, and we saw that Mila has a little voice to herself. Mila did a little bit more than enough talking in this episode as well. So it was good to see Ashley and Anthony out there having fun in Chicago. One thing about living in the Midwest, you never know what you get in April. So they got a little bit of snow, but also with Ashley and Anthony, they had a little issue. Anthony had to meet with his CEO in this episode, and he didn't know what was going to come out of that, but he realized that during this episode that Ashley and Anthony was having some of his events were canceled because of the coronavirus. Of course, a lot of the events across the country were canceled, and then Ashley's also out of work. Now it became a situation where he's like, things are starting to get a little bit tight right here. And that's some things that most married couples during this time have to experience, that things are getting a little bit tight. But we saw Ashley and Anthony kind of work through it just a little bit about how things are getting tight in their household in this episode.
Yeah, Ashley expressed concern that telling Mila we gotta be quiet because Daddy's on the phone with the CEO of his company. And I asked him, does he ever talk to the CEO? He was like, no. So they knew it was something going on. So just some reality of this quarantine, this COVID-19 situation that, like my husband said, a lot of people are dealing with. Funds being decreased in the home. Anthony said that, when his stuff is slow, usually, Ashley's income there is there to take up the slack, and so they don't have that now. So I think they'll come out okay, though.
Yeah, I think they come out all right, as the series progresses, or as they can continue to progress. Then we move on to, one of my favorite couples of all time, and that's Jepthe and Shawniece, which I really enjoy these two. We see Jepthe, who started out, Jepthe's have, that Shawniece and their daughter making a lot of noise, and he needed to get away from it. Quarantine was caving in on him, too much noise going on, so Jepthe said, you know what, I'm going upstairs to my in-laws' house and hang out. And then we get a clip, like 2 hours later, Shawniece didn't notice, about 2 hours later, she noticed Jepthe had not returned, or he was gone, and they went looking for Jepthe. I mean, 2 hours? It took her that long to notice that Jepthe was gone?
But she went looking for him. I guess she figured, like she said, she figured he was doing what's usual. She went looking for him, and she was like, well, the TV's not on, so he must not be here. So she looked for him in the usual places, and then she was like, I know where he is. Jepthe said he went to his in-laws. He said, I know what people say about in-laws, but I like my in-laws. So I'm going up there to get away. And so Shawniece and baby Laura go on the task to find Daddy Jepthe.
And they get upstairs, Jepthe's got a hand of 21 going with some money on the table. That's what I'm talking about.
She was like, are you smoking cigars? And betting money?
Smoking cigars and gambling, but they enjoy each other's family. They enjoy each other's company. And, with Shawniece and Jepthe, as the walls were closing in, she wanted to try a challenge. She wanted to try a challenge that she saw on social media. She wanted to see if she could climb over top of Jepthe between his legs and back out in the front. So she put a mat down in the kitchen and see if she could accomplish that task. And needless to say, she accomplished it, but it got a little funny. She
like that broke her neck.
Almost broke her neck. Got kind of funny when she got back behind, making sure Jepthe didn't have to fart. But it was.
I fully expected him to pass gas.
I fully expected him to do that as well, or even pretend as he was passing gas just to show some entertainment. But I like these two. I've seen them. They have grown a lot since we've seen them on Married at First Sight, the episode this season. From being split up together, being together, having baby Laura, and now working through their issues and working through the things that they're working through. Even when a lot of people talked a couple weeks ago when they were on Where Are They Now, not having their rings, they seem like they're in a good place. Even during quarantine, like they're doing they're doing fine. So interesting to see how they continue to maintain quarantine throughout the rest of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll move on to, AJ and Stephanie. We see AJ guy, and I'm always surprised at AJ because AJ is the guy who didn't like the cameras. Mm-hmm. AJ didn't, in his Philadelphia season of Married at First Sight, didn't like the cameras, didn't want to be on. But now we see AJ have no other choice because that's the only thing he can do because Stephanie is working. AJ is the camera maestro right now. He is the guy behind the camera. He's filming. He's having fun. Like I said, maybe because it's not production, but AJ's really enjoying taking his role as being cameraman for him and Stephanie.
Cameraman and happy homemaker. That's what he said. I'm AJ homemaker. I think that's what he called himself. Because Stephanie's still working. And so AJ said, I have to find something to occupy myself. And he looked like he probably cleans the house from top to bottom every day.
And he had fun doing it. He didn't want to be bored. He wanted to do different things. He cooked dinner. He's learning to get his cooking skills up and learning to get better, being Mr. Mom, the modern day Mr. Mom for all you older people out there.
Kids,
like me,
they don't have no kids.
They don't have any kids, but Mr. Husband did. Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Happy Homemaker.
Mr. Happy Homemaker. Yeah, Mr. Happy Homemaker. So he's out there doing what he needed to do for Stephanie and, trying to stay out of Stephanie's way. As you mentioned in the last episode, every time she get a break, he's in there like, hey, you all right? Got a minute to talk? Even as you saw, if you didn't watch the episode where he was cleaning up, she came out there. He was like, "Get out of my shot! You my shot! You messing me up." But you see how their relationship has grown and how he has grown in the last year or so with Stephanie. And you see how they're, some people say they didn't like them on the show, but it's like they're happy together, even in the midst of quarantine.
Yeah, they alright. They're not my most favorite, but I didn't expect them not to get along. But he's still kind of kooky. Yeah,
but he's handling it well, but it's still bothering him that he cannot make an income. And that's a lot of people in America right now, as we mentioned earlier, who used to working every day and working and providing income, especially when you're a small business owner like himself. He is a small business owner, and he's not able to provide for that. And then you have to switch roles. Now your wife has to provide. And as a man, that does something to him. But he's moving in the right direction.
Taking it in stride.
He's taking it in stride and keeping a positive attitude, knowing this won't last for always, or last forever. Then we'll move on to Christine and Keith. Christine and Keith was rocking his beard. They went to see Keith's grandma.
Aww. They went to see Granny.
They went to see Granny, and as they went to see Granny, Keith and Christine went to the store and brought Granny some essentials.
Yeah, he said, I'm used to seeing my grandma all the time, so it's kind of getting to him. Can't see my grandma all the time. But we do go to visit, and he said his sister was staying with grandma. Mm-hmm. So grandma's got somebody there. So we know Keith loves his grandma. And so he's just glad somebody can be there to take care of her. And so, yeah, they stopped at the store to get some things for grandma and went to see grandma. And to me, it looked like they drove a long time.
Not to
it might have been a camera trick, but they're doing their own camera. So I'm sure, like time lapse, but it looked like they took them a while to get there.
Yeah, and also so they didn't stay that long. Seemed like Keith just went.
It didn't look like
he went to put the stuff in the house or in the kitchen, as he told grandma that he put the water and he brought us some French fries because grandma must be a French fry fan. She loves some French fries. I can relate to grandma. I love some good French fries. Mm-hmm. So grandma, French fries, but she's sassy too. Do I look good? Do I look fine? Do I look all right?
Oh, she's so sweet.
She's so sweet. Wanted to make sure she looked good for the camera. Also fun loving. Christina, I love your sneaks.
She's so sweet. But they talked to her from the window. Which a lot of us have had to do. If you go to visit somebody, a friend of mine, she went to visit her grandma. They took the lawn chairs and sat in the backyard while grandma sat on the porch. So it's interesting to see. That's what I appreciate with this couple's cam. It's like somebody said in the comments it was kind of boring, more boring than their quarantine life. But it's really an embodiment of what a lot of us are going through. It's good, you get to see somebody else going through it. So they talked to her through the window, but they had a nice little visit, and then they took that long drive home, or what looked like a long drive.
They went home, and then, Christine shared that they had people working on their kitchen because they remodeling their house, and that her dad was coming over to help him out. Dad comes over with his mask, and we find out that, Keith's not a handyman, and I can relate to that.
We knew that anyway.
I can relate to that a little bit. I'm not a handyman. If I watch a YouTube video, I can probably figure it out and do it. And if I see somebody else do it, she's shaking her head. I can do some things. even watching YouTube videos that I can figure some things out. But I'd rather hire a professional to do it. I don't deal with electricity. You're not gonna get shocked. So I deal with, I can turn a screwdriver, steal a screwdriver or something like that. I am not Mr. Huxtable, and my doorbell will not be, doorbell will not be broken for a long time. So nonetheless, Keith, her dad was getting on Keith a little bit about cutting things straight and doing things, and they got this big remodeling thing in the kitchen. And Christine realized, it's going to take much longer than we thought because my husband is not a handyman. But when you're in this day and age, you'll find out that he was able to do some things, and this could be a bonding moment for Christine and Keith.
Yeah, they're still. I love K and K. They're cute.
Yeah, they're cute. Let's go ahead. They didn't have much with this couple, Jessica and Austin. Didn't see too much with the couple this time on Couples Cam. Jessica started her new position.
On the COVID ICU unit.
And she said she got up early in the morning. I wasn't for sure if Austin had laid her clothes out or she had laid her own clothes out. But either way, if he laid it out, that's sweet. If she laid it out, she's very meticulous because everything was in right dress order when she got up and she had to get her coffee. And Austin's still worried about her and had fear that even though she's working on this COVID-19 ward or department, that something may happen to her. And she should still showing love and being on the front line, and our hats go off to her for being on the front line each and every day, helping patients recover.
Absolutely.
Then we move on to Beth and Jamie.
Oh, let's save them for last.
You want to save them for last? I was going to save Deonna and Greg for last, but let's go.
No. Let's keep the good vibes going. The good juju.
Let's keep the good juju going. Let's go to Bobby. Bobby and Danielle.
Them too.
All right, Bobby and Danielle, good vibes going.
Bobby with that nice facial hair. I like it. I like it.
Bobby and his new facial hair.
I like it.
Bobby, we saw, Bobby, we realized that Danielle realized that Bobby has an addiction now since he's been home every day. Bobby has addiction like most of you may have an addiction since you've been home every day. And I know there's some people in my neighborhood that have a lot of addiction because I see Amazon, UPS, and FedEx trucks all the time in my neighborhood now. And Bobby has that addiction too because Bobby is ordering stuff offline every single thing. He bought himself a video game system. He bought himself a putting green. He bought himself a shop vac,
power washer,
and a power washer. And stuff constantly keep coming to the house just for him to keep himself moving. Bobby has no clue what to do with himself since he's home. No clue whatsoever. And even though he had a problem with buying stuff, Danielle said she's gonna be nice. She can go ahead and use a shop vac for herself. Had an issue with it at first, but yes, she did with a shop vac. But now with this couple, they got serious towards the end of their segment throughout the show about talking about having a baby.
Yeah, and we know from the where are they now? They had a lot of trouble with Danielle's pregnancy near the end. She got preeclamptic, had to deal with HELLP syndrome, and so they want to have more kids, but that is a concern for both of them, obviously. I think probably Bobby more so, because obviously, he wants to keep his wife and have his kids, future kids. But, so they talked about that, and I think they're leaning towards it, but taking their time. And in the meantime, Bobby's going to keep getting stuff on mail order.
Yeah, and Danielle was ready to go, and Bobby said, she's like, hold on, wait a minute. He said, I think my mustache may have some super sperm in it, or may help me trigger the super sperm.
She said she didn't like the facial hair.
She said she didn't like.
She shot that straight. Boom.
Didn't like.
I don't like the facial.
Don't like the facial hair.
I like it. I think it fits him.
So Bobby's trying to give some kind of reason for him to keep the hair, and so he threw the baby.
He gave it a sexy look.
He gave it a sexy look and threw the baby situation in there. So I can understand, but I can really understand his fear. And you being a nurse saying that it may not happen again, but as a husband being a fear that having that fear is something that you as a male cannot control, and so you can have the fear. You don't want to lose your wife. You don't want to lose your baby and your wife, and you don't want to. Be a father with 2 kids when you didn't have to, and she didn't have to get pregnant. So I can understand the fear with Bobby. And as you gave me some comfort last night when we was talking about it, doesn't mean because it happened once doesn't mean it's gonna happen again.
Right. It's just because you have that with one pregnancy doesn't. Every pregnancy is different. So.
And so talking about pregnancies, we talk about Jamie. We started off with Jamie and Doug, and Jamie had a false alarm.
Yes.
So Doug was telling the whole group on their Zoom call about Jamie's false alarm and how she was in the tub and they thought the baby was coming early, and Jamie even talked about her fear of it coming early because there was no midwife there and nothing they could do if the baby did come early, and so it was just a fearful situation for them. But everything was calmed after a couple hours and she was good to go. And just that, and then they end up calling a midwife in anyway to do a check on her. A couple days later.
Well, yeah, I think they plan for the midwife to come anyway because they're still debating about a home birth, and Doug's trying to get more comfortable with that, and so he's hoping the midwife will put his mind at ease. And she came with her assistant Zoe, and her iPad ultrasound.
Yeah, which I didn't know iPad could do that, man. That was pretty neat.
I believe you can probably put any app on there. I think some places you can look at X-rays and scans. So it was really cute. They got to see the baby and
feel its shoulders.
Yeah.
And Henley like, don't touch mommy there.
Don't touch mommy's belly. Don't touch my mommy's belly.
Yeah, so it was good to see them being able to brace that, and we realized that Doug has no clue what he's talking about because he thought the baby's head was in Jamie's vagina already.
No, it's not. I was like, it can't be down there. That means it's time to be birthing. But anyway, the baby's head down and getting close to delivery. But after
hopefully
they can hold on.
After the midwife came, Jamie was. Doug was more relaxed and more reassuring that they will have a home birth, which we'll see. And for those who follow Instagram, already know how that ends out. For those who don't, they most likely they decide to have a home birth. So, well, we can move on to, we got two couples left, and so which roll the dice?
Deonna and Greg.
Let's move on to Deonna and Greg. Well, we talking about babies. See how that segue worked there? As we talking about babies? Babies.
Which is on Deonna's mind heavily. And she's doing her usual, going to see Greg when she's on her break and finished her work, and she was like, hi, want to come grace you with my presence and have that talk we always talk about. And he, she was like, we have time to do. He was like, cook. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, yes, we can cook because, we like to eat. But what he said, and clean. Well, yeah, there's always some stuff that needs to be clean. Mm-hmm. And drink. Well, but no, expanding our family.
Now, and at that part, my mind had to take a flashback, right? I had the flashback, and I may try to find it. If I find it, I'll put it up. When Deonna came to bed with Greg in her flannel pajamas. And I know it's been a year over after their marriage, but it always got me like, this is a woman who went from flannel pajamas with Greg to now wanting to have babies and to jump his balls.
Who says because you got flannel pajamas on that you don't want to have babies?
No one says that, but it just shows you how far they have come.
Or be intimate.
See how far they came in their relationship now.
If you like me in my flannels, you gonna like me in my lingerie, my lingerie. She might have been testing them. Do you think I'm sexy in my flannels? Because you might get some if you do.
Yeah, but we know. But
it worked for his birthday.
Yeah,
but Deonna and Greg had said anyway that in about a year and a half or two that they'd be working on the family. And so they've been married for a year. Time is running out, Greg. He keep running away from the conversation. You can't change it from 1.5 to 2 years and now 3 years and go on 4. Her sister had a baby and Deonna was like, she's loving every minute of it, so she's ready.
Greg is waiting for the quarantine to be over.
Ready.
So Deonna will not be in the house as much. And so this baby talk will probably go away.
I doubt it.
But nah, she went even so far to tell Greg that she was ordering a wig. And in this box was not a wig. In this box was a baby that pooped, a baby that peed,
that drank a bottle,
and a baby that cries.
I was thinking when she pulled the baby out, I was like, oh, she should have got one of them like real life babies. Then she goes to tell us this is like a real life baby.
And Greg, being the new baby father, they came up with names. Jesus was one of the names on the list. Ended up being Jesus. babies ended up named being Junior. But Greg wanted to name the child Jesus. Now, mind you, I have not met too many African American men.
Well, he's African.
Named Jesus. I'm just saying, if y'all know one, please let me know in the comment section. I'm just an observation. I don't know too many people who name their children Jesus. But Greg wanted to be named his child to be named Jesus, so
Yes.
So it is what it is. But nah, they had a good time with it. The baby peed. They took pictures with the baby as well.
Well, Greg did.
Greg did.
He took pictures with Junior.
With Junior. They are truly a fun-loving couple. And
I like.
It's good to see them.
Yeah, I like how they've grown.
How they've grown with each other. And let's get to the last couple.
I mean, it's just disaster on wheels.
One of your favorite couples.
Disaster.
Beth and Jamie.
Nothing has changed.
They are having good conversation with each other.
No. I mean, no.
A great conversation with each other. They are moving in the right direction. They're doing some good things. Hey, she wants to move out the apartment. She wants to get a house. And then Jamie puts the numbers in what they could afford. And he's like, nah. And then this is where the conversation went south at. When they were sitting at the table eating breakfast, Jamie was like,
I can relate. Jamie was like, I'm a night person. Elizabeth is a morning person. So at night, he wants to cuddle up and he wants to talk to her and, love up on her. And she's like ready to go to sleep. And so then we flip-flop in the morning. In the morning, she's all full of energy and jumping around. And Jamie's like, I just trying to get myself together. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. But you sat at the table and you didn't talk to me. And he was like, I feel like, honestly, she should know this by now. It takes him a while to warm up. Give a brother some time. Yeah. Well, oh gosh.
I'm a morning. Then she apologized. She like, you want to have sex? And then she tried to go have sex with him. And you're like, no, I'm tired. No, I don't want to. And then 5 minutes later, it blew up again.
It never died out.
It died out. If he didn't want to have sex with her, it would have died out.
No.
I'm not saying that's the way he needed to fix it. That's not what I'm saying.
But yeah, 5 minutes later, here go classic Elizabeth. They are at each other's throats. Oh my god.
Talking about being moody, talking about who's moody, who's not moody, and everything with her is always being moody. And it's like, give me a break. Give me a break. But we'll get to see next week what happens with Jamie and Elizabeth, if they can get it right.
I hope they can, because again, this is just par for the course. I know they didn't stop when the cameras went off, and they don't just do this when the camera comes on.
But he's recording it though. That's the thing. It's not production recording. He must have thought, you know what, this is good for us to record. So let me go ahead and hit the record button.
I mean, because they're supposed to be documenting, but I'm saying, poor them.
But she did say, I know you're serious because you're recording this. So he was trying to get some things right. And he was calm and tried to stay calm on her. But she goes from 0 to 60 real quick.
I mean, he does too. I mean, she's worse than him. She's way worse.
She's definitely worse than him. But we'll see how that goes next week with Couple Cam. Really enjoy this. Really enjoy the show. I'm really enjoying it. Some people say it's boring, but I really get to see what their day-to-day activities are like during quarantine. And I understand sometimes the 4 walls will close in on you if you're not doing anything different. Mm-hmm. So as we get ready to close this out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification. Make sure you follow us. Continue to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and make sure you watch our Married at First Sight Australia review as well.
Bye.